Всем привет, коллеги. Меня зовут Dmitry Chernikov.
Hello, colleagues. My name is Dmitry Chernikov, and today we will be talking about cyber deception. It's quite an interesting technique, and I will be describing several methods that you can employ to protect your assets. I'm an engineer with Xello, and we develop deception solutions. Before we proceed with the presentation, let me tell you how all solutions in this class operate, regardless of the vendor, because not all customers understand the process. Probably you all heard about honeypots, you came across them. The idea of deception solutions is also pretty simple, but it's unique at the same time. It allows you to easily detect intruders. Inside the corporate network, we place honeypots that mimic real IT services of a company, and a good deception solution today can mimic or various PLCs or video cameras, CCTV cameras. You may think, where is deception coming from here? Well, there are lures that lure the intruders to these honeypots. You can use text files, for instance, as lures, where your users store logins and passwords. And this is how we can demonstrate to the abuser that there is no IT hygiene here, that all the passwords and logins are stored any old how. We can feed all of this into the infrastructure, share that with your security solutions, and use that as triggers. When I started explaining this, people ask me still to keep it even more simple. In 2012, when the sun was brighter and the grass was greener, and I was younger even than I am today, I did audits of Active Directory. I would come to a customer, I would sit next to the system administrator, who is also an domain administrator, and I would see immediately a sticky note with the password and with the login. And this is when I would begin to enjoy this audit. Such audits never took a lot of time, but WTF. Because at the top, usually people would point me to a camera at the ceiling. So as soon as someone would try to come and rewrite the password was indeed quite lengthy. So immediately the camera would notice that, and this malicious user would be caught, who would, try to physically run a pen test on this organization. So, then, at first I was surprised, and then I was surprised even more. Next time when you read on the Telegram channel that one a general probably has a password and login written on a sticky note, probably they are not real logins and passwords. So you don't even need to keep spying on these generals through the cameras. We can also do it via CMs and other accounts. There was even more progress after that. Companies came on stage. The pioneers were the international companies. Naturally, they brought all this into the digital world. They generated lures that mimic the user. There are canary files now. There are tools that study the tools of abusers, and they would adjust the lures to the tools that the abusers were using in order to, whether this is efficient. And actually people do ask us, how efficient is that? Well, guys from NATO, they have this research think tank or something. They did a research that showed that they carried out a double-blind randomized study. Some groups said that they were using deception. Other groups said they didn't use deception. Those who were told that no deception was used, they were immediately caught. Those who knew that there was deception These attackers were pretty critical about every single barrier that they encountered, and it took them twice the time to hack into the system because they always suspected deception there. So let's turn to the products themselves. The first one is an excellent project. You probably heard about it because you must have read about it in Telegram. It's an open source project. Canary Tokens is developing very actively. ThinkBest is the company behind it. And they do research all the time.
Про одну интересную технику. Ну, в целом, как бы хотелось бы...
But there is something that I wanted to emphasize in this respect. The idea is very simple. You upload a file into Canary Tokens, and they make a canary out of this file. So if this file is ever opened, you will receive an email notification that this file was opened. There's a beacon there. And this file, you can call it my super secret passwords. You can place it on the desktop. Again, that's the simplest solution. They have other projects as well for containers, for DNS records, for instance, when certain DNS records are resolved. And the latest and the most interesting study that they presented at the latest Blue Hat, and I have a link here in the presentation, it's a Canary team. The idea is when the Canary command, when a certain command is executed, then the server will find out that the command is executed. So you don't even need a special beacon for this. The command itself is the trigger. So please watch this presentation and please read about the project. Look at the register threads that these people are using. So use this technique. One thing to bear in mind is that, yes, there are some disadvantages. For instance, they suggest using null test because this is a command utility that's not very often used, but it can be renamed and then it will not trigger. Then, moving on to AD, to go back to Bison's latest presentation here at PhDays, on deception doesn't have an objective, it's a journey. So it's not a destination, it's a journey. AD, you go to Active Directory, you can make a fake admin there, and as soon as this fake admin is triggered, if those admin credentials, if there is an attempt to use the admin's credentials, then you will be able to trace that and respond. Little life hack. Someone asked during the presentation, which attributes are important to the abusers? Which attributes of the credentials or in the accounts do they try to get? Well, you can set up a very long password of an old administrator's credentials, someone you have already fired. Use something like that. It will look perfect because it will be totally natural. ISP roasting, Gerber roasting, this is what comes to mind. We can trace authentication attempts, and we also can trace Gerber stickers. As soon as such request is received, the beacon will be triggered. In Active Directory, well, everything that we find during AD audits with Bloodhound or Pincastle, any misconfiguration of AD, any misconfiguration, you can turn to your advantage. Like, we have targets on DearSync when the database can be stolen. You can use that. Or, as an example, I found this GitHub project. It's not been supported for the past 6 years, but there are many ideas there. Deploy deception is called. You import it as a PowerShell module, and you deploy privileged accounts if you want, or a regular account. That will respond not only to the use of those accounts, but they will also track the attempt to engage this account. Reading in Active Directory. So an account was used or a particular attribute was used, you will see that, but there are also prerequisites there. You have to enable 462 events, and apart from this, well, you have to be attentive because in big infrastructures, this may lead to a performance storm.
Таким образом, вы еще на этапе попытки даже
Even before attempting, even before this account, there was an attempt to use this account, you will be able to see that someone was reading this account. But again, there is an asterisk here, only LDAP requests apply. If
в вашем ландшафте киберугроз
If in your threat landscape you have Power View, for instance, then you'll be able to use this one. Bloodhound. You all know that this pretty utility, everyone loves it for the visuals.
атакующих,
Defenders and attackers alike will love their tools for their ability to visualize. They visualize the infrastructure, they build the attack graph that helps you identify the highly privileged account during the shortest time possible, in the shortest, over shortest route. This is the Bloodhound. This is how it looks like usually, and we need to get to the admins and capture the credentials. So what we do is there are certain techniques of deception that show that on all computers of our company, admin domains are logged in. As a result, Bloodhound crashes if it doesn't get enough resources from you, or it will be very difficult for you to analyze. But again, this can also be bypassed. You can filter out through these accounts. But an even more interesting idea is to use these techniques and lead the attackers to a trap server. They will try to attack it to get an account of a fake admin who is logged there or something. Now, how do you set this up? In the perfect world, you study Bloodhound and how it works. There are 3 papers that cover all techniques that Bloodhound uses to enumerate your infrastructure and to show which admins are logged in where. And this is the last screenshot over here, right? And you can see HK current user who can read all users of the organizations. They can see who is logged to the workstations. Any user can do that. And this thread has the rights of everyone.
образом. То есть это настройка по умолчанию.
This is a default setting that existed before, all the way to Windows 11. It's still on. I updated my Windows and it's still there. So for per every Bloodhound technique,
Вот то, что касается
we have a response.
ветки в реестр
Reading the register thread.
аккаунта, мы
Seed of the account is shown there. You can convert our admin seed, you add it to the thread, you spread it across the infrastructure, and then you will see how Bloodhound is filled with the admins, all of them that we have in the infrastructure.
смотреть на все это.
To get a closer view, I suggest you view the CFON session, where elusive people are talking about this technique.
Другие реализации, да, соответственно.
There are other implementations. For instance, in the API, there is a function that sees all administrators on the working stations.
Возвращает,
And it returns, well, you can see who of the admins is logged in. Since these must be real users, so you can abuse that as well. There is the runas utility that has the not only key. You can launch an RTP. RTP will not be initiated at the workstation, but it will show that there is a fake user logged in. You can use that. And SMB sessions. In the SMB sessions, you can view who is connected to a server by SMB. You should use a trap server. There should be a share drive there. You add certain keys to the register. The attackers will see that presumably there is an admin logged in on the trap server. These are the main techniques. Again, you can combine them. And you can lead the Bloodhound astray. So that's the idea of the deception. You need to take the attacker as far as possible from your critical asset. We have more presentations that we made during previous events on various honey traps and trap service.